Never understood the cultural quirk of coating and coloring bits of extruded keratin. That's a tongue twister. Try to say cultural quirk of coding 3 times fast. Good luck. And also, I think what this dude meant to say is, I never understood why people paint their nails. And the answer is, they like the way it looks. That's it, dude. What's going on, Modern Chodes? It's your boy Long Neil, back again with another new video. And in today's video, we're going over the hot post from r/IAmVerySmart. Let's get into it. Advice. Should we self-quarantine for the coronavirus? You may be wondering what credentials I have to provide advice on this. I'm not, but I'm sure you'll tell me anyway. I study a math-related major at a high-tier university and have a high IQ as measured by tests. I understand things better than the majority of Reddit, who seem unintelligent in my opinion. Mathematically speaking, we should not quarantine ourselves since only old people have a high chance to die from the virus. For the general public, it really isn't a threat. Okay, I guess we're not considering old people part of the general public even though they are, but let's continue. The ideal situation would be to isolate only old people and young children, while letting their relatives go out and providing them with stuff in a way which won't compromise them with the coronavirus. But I thought you just said only old people really are at risk to die from this, and they're the only ones that should be quarantined. Now you're adding young children, the group that's least likely to die from this virus. I'm spotting some flaws in your logic, but let's continue. If you're gonna argue with me, please provide your IQ and what your job is, so I can determine whether or not you're smart enough to partake in this. Yes, because everyone's totally taken an IQ test, and my job definitely dictates how smart I am. Sure thing, buddy. Actually, I merely put my fingers on a keyboard and think of mathematical psychoacoustic curves in play. On my channel's homepage here, you can listen to a couple of these. Yeah, sure, dude. You just think of mathematical psychoacoustic curves and suddenly you're Beethoven. Yep, okay. And oh, by the way, you're just a self-promoting spammer, so cut it out. And you misunderstand. It's not for the glory of me that I go about bandying truth so cudgely about, but for to praise being correct for its own end. Bro, do you even English? And just because you look up synonyms for words doesn't mean you're smart. When I make a post, I'm not talking about me, which means that we are not talking about me. We are talking about my post. Most of my posts point out that self-published writers have no chance of taking their hobbies to the next level unless they get an education. Yes, I have been published many times. In print, not self-published. The only reason many of you want samples of my writing is so you can retaliate. Even if I showed you published works of mine that are impeccable, you and others like you would revert from adults to peevish adolescent brats and say the writing is terrible or post a bunch of mindless haha emoji or silly gifs, all without any creative endeavor. You and others like you would do this without reading the work. Even if you and others like you actually read the work and were impressed, you and others like you would still resort to the same scornful, childish tactics. You and others like you. You and others like you. Bro, think of something else to say. I know more about writing and literature than most of you. If you need some editorial help, I'll provide it free of charge as long as it does not take up too much of my time. If you question my motivation for doing this, I assure you that I'm not trying to market my editorial services. I'm tired of reading terrible writing. There's nothing I can do to stop terrible writing by terrible writers. But maybe I can help clean up some of the muck before it results in more literary pollution. This guy is trying so hard to prove that he's super intelligent and such a great writer. And at least he's smart enough to realize that, yeah, if you did share your writing, it would just get a whole bunch of dislikes, no matter how good it was, because people don't like reading stuff from someone who has such an inflated ego that they can't admit that somebody else can have a good writing too. You're not the only one, dude. Everyone is posting things about the Olympics, and I'm sitting outside pondering the essence of life and how thought can even occur on a subatomic level. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. I'll just leave you with a quote by the late Eleanor Roosevelt. Small minds discuss people, i.e. Olympians. Average minds discuss events, i.e. the Olympics. Great minds discuss ideas, i.e. quantum physics and existentialism. And people with even smaller minds make posts on Facebook exclaiming how smart they are. And just to belittle your ignorance a bit more, I'll say it in the third language I learned. I'm assuming that says the exact same thing, but I don't know. Does that make me dumb? Hopefully not. But to this guy, probably. These simulations show how to flatten the coronavirus growth curve. The only problem with this is that the unconscious and undifferentiated herd who have subjugated their minds have no idea what this means. It's too mathy for them. Yeah, because a chart with no numbers and just pictures is way too mathy for someone. Today, the devil whispered in my ear, "You're not strong enough to withstand the storm." And I whispered, "6 feet back, mofo." I will never understand why people insist on using a word that doesn't exist in the dictionary. According to my 2 copies of the dictionary, the proper word would be mother fornicator, which would only take place between unmarried folks. Look it up. We should make that a thing, guys. Comment mother fornicator down in the comments below. I want that to blow up. I gotta start using that in my daily life. That's great. In 7th grade, I would finish my homework so quickly that I got bored. So I wrote a 211-page novel in 2 weeks. I gave it to my English teacher, and not only did he give me extra credit, he assigned the book for all of his classes to read. He probably did that because he didn't want to read your 211-page awful story because you're a 7th grader. I'm sure your story wasn't that good. Hi all, so my experience is in teaching English online to foreigners, 1,000+ students, but I am a member of Mensa with an IQ over 142, average is 100, and have a lot of experience teaching in general. Obviously, the kids are now off school, so I thought it was the right thing to do to try and help out, and obviously it's extra work for me, which is a bonus. So if your kids are stuck at home and need some guidance with their extra homework, or need a bit of homeschooling, let me know. There are hundreds of teachers on Facebook offering online tutoring to kids for free. Not cool that you try and make money out of this awful situation. But her IQ is so high, so she definitely needs a lot of money to teach your kids because that high IQ will definitely rub off on them. Hello, I'm wondering why you're not incorporating estimated download time in your client. I am pretty sure the algorithm or equation is quite easy. You see, you take the download size, example 10 gigabytes, convert it to megabytes, which is 10 times 1,000, which equals 10,000 megabytes. Next, we take the total amount in megabytes and divide the current download speed in megabytes per second. So for example, the download speed is 2 megabytes per second. That makes our equation 10,000 divided by 2, which will give us the total seconds needed to download. That is 5,000 seconds. Then you divide the total seconds needed to download the file and divide by 60 to give us the total amount in minutes. For our example, that means 5,000 divided by 60 equals 83.33 minutes. Furthermore, you can divide the minutes by 60 again to give the download time needed in hours. So finally, 83.33 divided by 60 equals 1.38 hours. It should be easy to implement into the client. This has been great. Glad to have helped. Entrepreneur signing out. Alright, so clearly this guy is being sarcastic, and I don't think he necessarily belongs in the subreddit, because it's not really true to himself, but I'll leave it in the video because he put a lot of effort into making that. What's your favorite paradox? The ship of Theseus. If an object has had all of its components replaced by identical parts, is it still the same as the original? Pretty interesting to think about. I prefer Trigger's broom. I actually solved that one. Care to elaborate? The first ship is the original. I'm actually surprised that it took humanity this much time to figure it out. This guy's obviously just cracking jokes, but that doesn't come across too well through a text. But I'm still gonna give this guy a pass. I don't think he belongs in this r/IAmVerySmart. I think he's just a bad joke teller. Alright, Modern Chodes, that's it for the hot post from r/IAmVerySmart. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, and share this video with your friends. Till next time, peace.